2 weeks ago, my sister accidentally added me to a family group chat that had been running for 7 years. 847 messages I was never supposed to see. What I found in those messages, and what happened at my grandmother's 70th birthday party when I confronted them, nobody in my family will ever forget. I'm Natasha. I'm 32. And this is the story of how I discovered the truth about my own family. It started 6 weeks ago when Grandma Frances called me at 7 a.m. Natasha, honey, I'm having a party for my 70th. I want you there. My chest tightened, not from dread, from surprise. Grandma was calling me directly. Usually family announcements went through the group chat. The one I thought I'd just been forgotten in. Of course, Grandma. I wouldn't miss it. After we hung up, I thought about the past 10 years. Every Saturday, I drove her to cardiology appointments. Every Sunday, I cleaned her house. Every late night when loneliness crept in, I sat beside her talking until she felt better. My younger half-sister Courtney? She showed up for Christmas photos. Posted them on Instagram with family is everything and heart emojis. 50,000 followers ate it up. I never said anything. What was there to say? 3 days before the party, I called my mom about the dress code. Oh, just casual, honey. Nothing fancy. I believed her. Then I stopped by to drop off Grandma's medication. Mom was in the kitchen, phone on the counter. A text from Courtney popped up. I didn't mean to look, but the preview was right there. Remember cocktail dress? Photographers coming at 4. My stomach dropped. Casual. She'd told me casual. I left without saying goodbye. Maybe she just forgot, I told myself. But something cold settled in my chest. A feeling I'd been ignoring for years. The next evening, I called Courtney. We weren't close, different fathers, different childhoods, different everything. Still, she was my sister. Hey, Courtney. Just calling about Grandma's party. Need help with anything? Silence. Then, oh, Grandma invited you too? Too. The word hung there like a slap. She called me herself, I said carefully. Huh. I mean, it's a family thing, so, you know. I didn't know. That was the problem. What does that mean? Nothing. Forget it. I gotta go. She hung up. 20 minutes later, my phone buzzed. A voice message from Courtney. But it wasn't for me. Oh my God, she's so annoying calling me like we're best friends or something. Courtney's voice, clearly talking to someone else. She acts like she's such a VIP just because Grandma likes her. I don't get what Grandma even sees in her. Laughter in the background. Then it cut off. My phone buzzed again. Oops. Sent that by accident. Don't mind it, LOL. Don't mind it. 7 words. That's all she had. I wanted to believe this was just sisters fighting. But deep down, I knew. This wasn't new. This was just the first time I'd actually heard it. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in my apartment and stared at the ceiling. 32 years old. Divorced. Living alone. Working 60-hour weeks in the ICU because it was easier to care for strangers than think about my own life. Grandma Frances was the only person in my family who made me feel like I belonged. When I was 12 and crying because the other kids had dads at the father-daughter dance, Grandma showed up in a suit and bow tie. Danced with me all night. But Grandma was 70 now. Her heart wasn't what it used to be. If I lost her, I'd have no one. I thought about Grandpa's funeral 3 years ago. 200 people in the church. I sat in the back row. No one sat with me. No one asked if I was okay. That's when Grandma found me. Slipped into the pew beside me. Just held my hand. I remembered something she said once. I write everything down, you know. Who does what? Who shows up? Grandma keeps track. At the time, I thought she meant grocery lists. Now I wondered. The memories came that night. 2 years ago. Wesley, my husband of 4 years. I found the texts on a Tuesday. Her name was Melissa. The messages went back 8 months. I called my mother, sobbing. Mom. Wesley, he's been cheating. I don't know what to do. Long pause. Then, well, honey, you have been working a lot. Maybe if you'd been home more. I hung up. Courtney's contribution came via Facebook. I'd posted something vague about going through a hard time. She commented publicly, "Some people just aren't meant to keep a man." That comment got 4 likes. My mother, Aunt Deborah, 2 cousins. For people in my own family, laughing at the worst moment of my life. But Grandma? Grandma called every single day that first month. Sometimes we talked. Sometimes she just listened to me cry. Sometimes she said nothing, just breathe on the other end so I'd know I wasn't alone. "It's not your fault," she told me. "Don't let anyone tell you it was." She was the only one who showed up. And now, 2 years later, I finally let myself wonder, was there somewhere they talked about me? Somewhere I wasn't invited? For days before the party, 11 p.m., my phone buzzed. "Courtney added you to only family members." I stared at the words. Only family members. I tapped the notification. The chat opened. I scrolled up. And kept scrolling. Created 7 years ago. Members, Mom. Courtney. Aunt Deborah. My aunts from Ohio. 3 cousins. 8 people. Everyone except Grandma. Everyone except me. In the corner, 847 unread messages. I checked the most recent one, Aunt Deborah complaining about her neighbor's dog 2 days ago. Normal stuff. Nobody had noticed I'd been added. I scrolled to the very beginning. The first message ever sent. "Aunt Deborah, finally, a place to talk without you know who seeing. Courtney, charity case free zone face with tears of joy. My mother, girls, don't be mean. But yeah, this is nice." The room tilted. They had a name for me. Charity case. I couldn't stop reading. Inside jokes I didn't understand. Plans for holidays I'd been told were small gatherings. Photos from events I'd never been invited to. Then the nickname thread. Courtney, new rule. We call her CC from now on. Aunt Deborah, CC. Courtney, charity case. Cousin Sarah, dead skull. Mom, that's terrible. But also kind of accurate, lol. My own mother. When I lost my first nursing job at 26, budget cuts, not performance, they celebrated. Aunt Deborah called it. Knew she couldn't hack it. When I started dating Wesley, they bet on how long it would last. But the worst was when I got engaged. Courtney, starting the divorce pool now. I got $50 on under 5 years. Aunt Deborah, I'll take 3. Mom, you girls are awful. Put me down for 4. My mother bet on my marriage failing. I found the divorce messages at 2 a.m. 2 years ago. The week I told them Wesley had cheated. Courtney, guys, guess what? CC's getting divorced. Aunt Deborah, and away. Finally, who won the bet? They checked. Collected money. $50 each. Then, Mom, just got off the phone with her. She was crying. Aunt Deborah, and? Mom, nothing. She'll get over it. At least she doesn't have kids. One less grandchild to worry about. Courtney, silver lining woman shrugging. Cousin Sarah, honestly though, who would cheat on someone that boring? 47 messages followed. Not one person asked if I was okay. They just laughed. Something shifted in me. The tears dried. The hurt was still there, but underneath, something harder formed. They'd never seen me as family. And now I had proof. At 3 a.m., I started screenshotting. Every message. Every laugh react. Every bet. Methodical. The way I labeled patient charts at work. While I worked, I noticed something from 6 months ago. Courtney, Grandma's getting weird. She has this notebook she writes in constantly. I saw CC's name in there like multiple times. Aunt Deborah, weird. Courtney, right? She's obsessed with her. It's gross. Grandma had a notebook. She wrote my name. I remembered what she'd said at Grandpa's funeral. I keep track, honey. I always keep track. What if she meant literally? I finished at 4:17 a.m. 847 messages. 7 years. All saved. I opened a new text. Typed slowly. Thanks for the receipts. Natasha. The party was in 4 days. Every single person in that chat would be there. I pressed send. Then I left the group. 4:19 a.m. My phone exploded. Courtney calling. Declined. Mom calling. Declined. Texts flooding in. Courtney, I was drunk when I added you. I swear it was an accident. Mom, whatever you read, it's not what it looks like. We were just venting. Every family does this. Aunt Deborah, don't make this a bigger deal than it needs to be. This is private family stuff. Private family stuff. That's what they called 7 years of mockery. By 4:45 a.m., 67 messages. Aunt Deborah, this is why we didn't include you. You're too sensitive. I turned off my phone. Walked to my window. The sky was turning gray. I thought about exposing them on social media, forwarding screenshots to everyone, burning it all down. But that wasn't me. Grandma's party was in 4 days. I wasn't going to ruin her birthday. But I wasn't staying silent either. I had a plan. Not revenge. Something better, truth, at the right moment. I set my alarm, lay down, and slept better than I had in years. 3 days before the party, Courtney showed up. Full makeup. Designer bag. Eyes wet with tears that looked almost real. Natasha, please. Can we talk? I let her in. She perched on my couch edge. I'm so sorry. That chat, it got out of hand. We never meant. You bet on my divorce. She flinched. That was Aunt Deborah's idea. I was young. You were 22. And you did it again last year. You saw that? I saw everything, Courtney. The tears stopped. Something harder flickered in her eyes. Okay, fine. But you can't tell Grandma. She's fragile. This could literally kill her. I almost laughed. Now you care about Grandma's health. I've always cared. You visited her twice last year. I visited every week. I have a business to run. You have an Instagram account. We stared at each other. Sisters by blood. Strangers by choice. I'm going to the party, I said quietly. What happens there, we'll see. You can't do this to the family. I'm not doing anything. I'm just done pretending. At the door, she turned. You know, this is why no one likes you. You always have to be the victim. And you always have to be the villain. Guess that makes us even. She left. The day arrived. Clear sky. Perfect weather. Grandma's backyard looked like something out of a magazine. White chairs. String lights. A photographer circling. I wore a cocktail dress. Navy blue. I'd done my own research. When I walked through the gate, my mother's face went pale. Courtney grabbed her arm. Aunt Deborah spilled wine. They'd hoped I wouldn't come. Natasha. Mom recovered. Smile plastic. You made it. Grandma invited me. For 2 hours, I was invisible. Group photos? Back row. Better lighting up front. Appetizers? Servers walked right by me. When guests asked who I was, Courtney answered. Just a cousin. Her own sister. One great aunt, not in the chat, leaned over during photos. Aren't you Gloria's older daughter? Why aren't you in the front? Before I could answer, Grandma's voice cut through. Natasha, sweetheart. Come sit with me. My mother's smile flickered. Courtney's jaw tightened. I walked to Grandma's chair. She took my hand. Stay until the end tonight, she whispered. Grandma has something to say. Her eyes were sharp. Knowing. My heart began to pound. 2 hours in, Courtney clinked her glass, stepped up to the microphone. What followed was a 5-minute performance. Dabbed eyes. Childhood memories. How Grandma taught her to bake. I'm so grateful to be the granddaughter who's been by your side all these years. I love you, Grandma. Applause. Aunt Deborah wiped tears. My mother beamed. I stood in the back and did the math. Courtney had visited maybe 15 times in 5 years. I'd been there every single week. But Courtney had 50,000 followers. She knew how to perform. Aren't you going to say something? A cousin asked. Courtney appeared at my elbow. Oh, Natasha's so busy with her nursing job. She doesn't really have time for speeches. Light laughter. My mother nodded along. A week ago, I would have smiled and disappeared. But I had 847 reasons to stay. That's okay, I said evenly. Grandma knows who's actually been there. Courtney's smile froze. Across the lawn, Grandma caught my eye. Nodded once. Not yet. But soon. The party wound down. Guests gathered their things. Then Grandma stood. She tapped her glass. Everyone, please stay a moment longer. 60 people went still. It's my 70th birthday. An old woman's allowed to make a speech. Polite laughter. I want to talk about family. About what it really means. Courtney straightened, preparing for praise. Specifically, I want to talk about the person who's actually been there for me these past 10 years. The air changed. Someone who drove me to every doctor's appointment when my heart started failing. Someone who cleaned my house every Sunday. Someone who sat with me through long nights when I was scared. My mother's face went gray. Someone who never posted about it on social media. Never asked for credit. Never complained. She looked at me. Natasha, come here, sweetheart. The crowd parted. I walked forward. Grandma took both my hands. This is my granddaughter. My real family. Courtney stepped forward. Grandma, that's sweet, but we're all family. I'm not finished. Courtney stopped. Grandma pulled out a small leather notebook. Brown. Worn. I'd seen it on her nightstand 100 times. I've been keeping records for 10 years. Everything. And tonight, I'm sharing some of it. She opened it. March 15th, 2019. Natasha drove me to cardiology. Courtney said she was busy. Flip. August 22nd, 2020. Natasha cleaned my house, did laundry, made soup. Gloria promised to visit but canceled. Absolute silence. January 5th, 2022. I fell on the stairs. Natasha arrived in 20 minutes. Stayed all night. She looked up. Courtney posted a spa day on Instagram that afternoon. Courtney's face went white. September 17th, 2024. Natasha's divorce was finalized. I called her every day for a month. Her own mother didn't call once. My mother stood frozen. 10 years of entries. I wrote down everything. Every visit. Every absence. Every excuse. She closed the notebook. I know who showed up. And I know who didn't. People looked at Courtney differently now. At my mother. At Aunt Deborah. Grandma. Courtney's voice cracked. You don't understand. Sit down, Courtney. Courtney sat. Mom, please, my mother said. There's been a misunderstanding. We love Natasha. We just express it differently. Do you? Grandma's eyes were cold. Is that what you call it? Someone coughed nervously. There's something else. Something I learned 6 months ago. Stephen, would you please explain? Uncle Stephen, Aunt Deborah's husband, slowly stood. Deborah grabbed his arm. Stephen, what are you doing? The right thing. Finally. He faced the crowd. 6 months ago, I saw a group chat on my wife's phone. Only family members. I read through it. Deborah's grip tightened. Stephen, don't. 7 years of messages mocking Natasha, calling her names, betting on her failures, celebrating her divorce. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I told Frances everything. Showed her screenshots. Grandma nodded. I've known for 6 months. I've read every message. Courtney stood. That's private. You had no right. 847 messages. I read them all. Charity case. The bets. The celebration when Natasha's marriage ended. Grandma's voice cracked. My own daughter wrote she was relieved Natasha didn't have children. My mother started crying. Mom, I didn't mean. One less grandchild to worry about. Your exact words, Gloria. Deathly silence. I waited. I wanted everyone here. Everyone who matters. Because I want you all to know who my family really is. She squeezed my hand. And I want you to see what happens to people who betray it. Grandma pulled out a folded document. 3 months ago, I had Stephen update my will. Deborah whipped around. You did what? I'm her attorney, Stephen said flatly. And her family. Courtney lunged forward. Grandma, you can't. I'm 70 years old, Courtney. Sound mind. Clear heart. This is my decision. She unfolded the paper. Read clearly. My house will go to my granddaughter, Natasha Reynolds. She has cared for it, cleaned it, and filled it with love for 10 years. She's earned it. The crowd murmured. Courtney looked slapped. The remaining assets will be divided equally among my children and grandchildren, as is fair. She met my mother's eyes. This isn't punishment, Gloria. It's balance. Natasha gave 10 years without asking for anything. The least I can do is make sure she's not left with nothing. This is insane, Deborah hissed. Natasha isn't even, she's not really. Not really what? Grandma's voice went cold. Not really family? Deborah's mouth shut. Natasha is my granddaughter. My blood. And more importantly, she showed up every single time. She turned to the crowd. That's what family means. Not group chats. Not Instagram posts. Not betting pools on failures. She refolded the document. I've made my decision. It's legal. It's done. Courtney cried. Real tears this time. My mother stared at nothing. Deborah looked at Stephen like a stranger. Grandma turned to me. Do you want to say anything, sweetheart? I stepped forward. I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to call anyone names. That's not who I am. Courtney wiped her eyes. Natasha, please. We can fix. I have 847 screenshots, Courtney. There's nothing to fix. She flinched. For 7 years, you had a chat called Only Family Members. You excluded me, mocked me, bet on my failures. I looked at my mother. You celebrated the worst day of my life. Mom had no defense left. So here's what I want to say. I'm done. Final. I'm not angry. I'm not bitter. I'm just done. I looked at each of them. You decided 7 years ago I wasn't part of your real family. I'm going to respect that decision now. Natasha, you can't just cut us off, Deborah started. I'm not cutting you off. I'm accepting the boundary you already set. Silence. You excluded me. I'm simply agreeing with your choice. I turned to the crowd. To cousins not in the chat. To grandma's friends. To neighbors who'd watched me come and go for a decade. That's all I have to say. I walked back to Grandma. She took my hand. I'm proud of you, she whispered. For the first time in a long time, I was proud of me too. The party ended in silence. Guests left quickly. My great-aunt Violet approached near the gate. I always wondered why you weren't in family photos. Now I understand. Another guest stopped. I've known Frances 40 years. If she says you're her real family, that's good enough for me. Small kindnesses added up. Courtney tried approaching one last time. Mascara streaked. Natasha, we need to talk. Please. Not tonight. But. Not tonight. Her Instagram smile couldn't save her. My mother sat alone. Guests passed without speaking. Aunt Deborah screamed at Stephen by the catering table. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt free. Grandma appeared beside me. Help an old woman to her chair. I walked her inside. Are you okay, Grandma? She smiled. Best birthday I've ever had. 3 days later, I drove to Grandma's house. She sat in her garden, notebook open, still writing. There's my girl. I sat beside her. Are you upset with me? She asked. Why would I be? Because I knew for 6 months. Could have told you sooner. I thought about it. Why didn't you? I wanted the right moment. If I'd told you privately, they would have denied everything. Called you a liar. Said I was going senile. She shook her head. But in front of 60 people, with Stephen to back it up, there was nowhere to hide. You planned this. I'm 70, sweetheart. I've learned a few things. Never act when you're angry. Wait until you're calm. Then you'll know what you really want. What did you really want? Justice for my granddaughter. And truth in the light where everyone could see it. She squeezed my fingers. They'd been hiding in shadows for 7 years. Time to turn on the lights. We sat in comfortable silence. I love you, Grandma. I love you too, Natasha. More than you know. She picked up her pen. Now let me write today down. Natasha visited. Good conversation. She's going to be okay. She was right. I was. 2 weeks later, my mother knocked on my door. She looked smaller. Older. No makeup. She clutched a photo album like a shield. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She sat. Opened the album. Baby pictures. First steps. Kindergarten graduation. I don't know where I went wrong. You were my first baby. I loved you so much. Then what happened? I was ashamed of my first marriage. Of failing. When I married Courtney's father, I wanted to start fresh. She finally looked up. And you were a reminder of everything I wanted to forget. Not an excuse. But honest. That's not my fault, Mom. I know. Tears streamed. I've always known. I just couldn't face it. Silence. A lifetime of hurt between us. What do you want? I asked. To fix this. To be your mother again. That's going to take time. I know. I'll do whatever. 3 months. No contact. After that, we can try. Slowly. 3 months? But Christmas. You had 7 Christmases in a chat that called me charity case. 3 months isn't long. She flinched, but didn't argue. At the door, she paused. I am sorry, Natasha. I know words don't mean much, but I am. Then prove it in 3 months. She left. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a door left open. Maybe that was enough for now. Courtney tried everything. Calls. Emails. Showing up. Sending gifts. A $200 flower arrangement arrived with a card. I miss my sister. Please. See. I donated it to the hospital. 3 weeks later, a letter appeared. Handwritten. 6 pages. She wrote about growing up jealous of my relationship with Grandma. About feeling second best despite better clothes, grades, followers. About starting the chat because she wanted somewhere to belong. I know I can't undo 7 years. But I want you to know I understand now. I was cruel because I was scared. I sat with that letter. Then wrote back. 1 page. Courtney, I received your letter. I understand you have reasons. Reasons aren't excuses. I don't hate you. I'm not angry. But I also don't want a relationship with you. You spent 7 years treating me like an outsider. I'm not spending the rest of my life proving I belong. I wish you well. I hope you find peace. But I can't be part of that journey. Please don't contact me again. Natasha. I mailed it the next morning. She didn't respond. Didn't show up. Didn't try again. Maybe she finally understood. Or gave up. Either way, the result was the same. It should have felt like loss. Instead, it felt like breathing. 3 months later, I'm writing this from Grandma's living room. My living room now, sort of. She insisted I stay in the guest room until she decides to kick the bucket. Her words. She's in the garden, notebook open, still keeping track. My mother and I have talked twice. Brief, careful. She's trying. Whether it's enough, I don't know yet. But the door is open. Courtney is a stranger now. Her account is public again, rebuilt around healing and growth. Maybe she means it. Maybe it's another performance. Either way, it's not my concern. Stephen and Aunt Deborah finalized their divorce last month. He sends Christmas cards now. We're not close, but we're something. Allies, maybe. Sarah apologized 3 more times. We grabbed coffee last week. Awkward, but not terrible. And me? I still work 60 hours in the ICU. Still live alone. Still eat dinner over the sink more than I should. But something's different. I don't feel like I'm waiting for permission anymore. Permission to belong. To be seen. To matter. Grandma said something yesterday while we watched the sunset. You know what the best part of getting old is? What? You stop caring what people think. You just live. I'm trying to do that now. Live, not perform. Not prove. Just exist exactly as I am. I didn't lose my family. I lost the illusion of one. And for the first time in 32 years, I think I'm finally free. That's my story. 847 messages. 7 years of secrets. And one grandmother who changed everything. If you're in a toxic relationship, family, friend, partner, remember this. You don't have to set yourself on fire to keep them warm. Boundaries aren't walls. They're doors you get to control. Thanks for listening. If you liked this story, share it with others, and don't forget to comment and subscribe for more stories about family, second chances, and finding where you truly belong. Sometimes the family you need isn't the one you were born into, it's the one that shows up.